Hello, everyone. I am delighted to be here this morning. It's been a crazy month for me. I was in Moscow 2 days ago, and before that in Bogota, Colombia. So if I'm a little mixed up about where I am, please forgive me. Who is young for us? We think newspapers need to pay attention to young people from the time they can hold a newspaper. And being young is for us when they go to university or look for a first job. As you know, you can engage young people at an early age, but you need to re-engage them when they leave home and when they're looking for that first job. We found some strategies for doing that I'll tell you about this afternoon. The core group we found, and I don't know if that's the case here in India, I suspect it's the same, is 9 to 14 years old. We found that that's the time that a child either develops an interest in news or doesn't. And the media habits at that age are kept in life. So that's the core group, we think, for young readers. We also know we must pay attention to the parents and the teachers. We have offered, and again, I'll tell you more about this afternoon, we provide free resources to encourage family reading, for example. We have a serial story each year that we offer free to newspapers around the world. And it's an old idea, the serialized story, that you have each chapter in the newspaper once a week, perhaps. And we found that this is a new way to help parents engage their children in reading at home. It's been surprising to see the interest in this. And what we do is also provide activities that send the child and their family back into the newspaper that are tied with these stories. Our next stories will be a series of folklore tales set in different parts of the world. And again, there'll be activities. And newspapers do amazing things with these. Sometimes they'll have podcasts. If a newspaper company has a television station, they'll get a celebrity to read the chapter once a week. A newspaper in Uganda even went around and gave a prize to families they found reading the newspaper at home. I don't know how that worked, but it was an interesting variation. So it's an old idea, but something that's come around. And I know in India, newspapers do a lot with families. Many of you are doing workshops with families and even a newspaper exploration workshop with families. But we know this is a key, especially mothers. We found in research elsewhere, and I don't know if you have the research here yet for that. If you don't, I can show you how to do it. Mothers seem to be the biggest influencers on a child's media habits. And when you think about it, she's the one who's always saying, turn off the TV. She's the one around when they come home. So it's an interesting situation. The other key group, and that's what I was doing in Moscow and Bogota, is teachers. And again, I know you know this, that even in this world of internet and fast-paced communication, they really love to work with the printed newspaper because they can make their lesson plans from it ahead of time, and the children can take it away. They love this resource all over the world. And also what we're doing in that's new, and I'll speak more about that later, is encouraging the notion of digital newspapers in education. Because there are now interactive whiteboards in schools all over the world, it makes sense for us to think about how can teachers use the digital editions of your newspapers in class. It will be a long time before every child anywhere has a computer in the classroom. But because of these whiteboards, these interactive whiteboards are often called smart boards, it makes it possible to use the digital edition of the newspaper in class. So what do we do? Our goal at the World Association of Newspapers is to promote literacy, tout court, just very basic literacy, to teach media literacy, and that's very much a buzz term in education right now, the notion of media literacy. Too often, media literacy is all about protecting yourself from those bad media messages. And we are filling a gap that we see in this area by providing materials about press freedom and about the crucial role of the newspaper and of professional journalism in a child's education, to understand what it takes to do professional journalism. I think that's important before people start deconstructing messages. What we also do, and that's part of what I'm here today, why I'm here today, is we honor and spread best practice. You've got on your tables information about our World Young Reader Prizes. Well, that's the most highest level of our press spreading information about press practice, but we also do many smaller things, such as helping put our subsidiary here in contact with a couple of external speakers who make sense for this country. Also, once again, we provide resources to teachers and newspapers, and our speaker this morning is the creator of some of them. So, but before I start, I want to let you know that I'm speaking to the converted here. I know that India is doing major actions. It's clear that there's a massive commitment in this country to youth here and to smart approaches for engaging that group and its influencers in a way that helps newspapers build loyalty. I'll give you another reason why you're champions. This is a study that we did in the US, Finland, and the Netherlands, and it's about the perception of paid newspapers. As you can see on the second row, they're pretty credible, not terribly convenient, pretty good depth of coverage and breadth of coverage, not very popular with people perceive that they're not popular with their peers, and they're not very enjoyable to use. Well, I looked at some stats about Indian youth, and 63% of Indian youth, according to a 2009 study, prefer papers for newspapers and current affairs. That's an amazing statistic. So even if you have difficulties, it's astounding that this level of, in any study, that this level of reception would be there for your newspapers. Secondly, only 22%, let me go back. So you can see on these upper lines where the Indian prefer newspapers, and then the upper lines are all about television. What people in these countries, Finland, the Netherlands, and the US, think about television, very much preferring it. And Indian youth don't prefer television that much for news information, according to this study. So you're starting from a better place than much of the world. So you are champions, but we all face new challenges. And I'm going to show a short video that puts that into a framework. You all know what's going on in this video, but I find it a useful thing to think about as we move ahead. The key thing in the video is reminding us that we must be everywhere. We have to be on every single platform there is in smart ways, and it's getting to those other platforms that, of course, is the hardest for us. And we must be active in the we media of the world. I'm still looking for the killer application of who's doing the best job on Facebook. There are some very good examples of the newspaper being the safe place for blogs for children, for example. There are things you can do, but I still haven't found the killer Facebook app, and I'm looking for that.